2, 1. Welcome back
Was
to
it
the Center
delayed? I don't
Podcast.
know.
Why you go?
No.
You ain't have to
Keep
say
it going.
nothing.
Keep it going.
I got my co-host Mark here. I'm Victor.
Co-host, wait.
Look at you. Wow. Just because I messed the clap up, that's what you're
All
going to
right,
call me now?
whatever. We're just gonna leave it as is. And we have a special guest here today, Ydaly, owner, creator of Aminykal. How are you doing today, Ydaly?
I'm good. Guys.
Well,
You're doing well. You look well.
appreciate that. Trying to stay alive. I miss I tried to get my cut yesterday. Mark, my barber, he been missing. I don't know what's going on with him. I might have to hit you up for something because I don't know what's going on with that. But yeah, it's not about that. We got Ydaly here today. We want to talk about what she's been up to, what she's been doing in the past couple months or so, what she has coming out in the future. Right. So just to start off, Ydaly, just talk about like where you from, what do you do exactly, and what is it about?
All right, dope. So Ydaly, 21. I'm from Philly. Originally came to the U.S. in like 2012. Aminykal was founded in 2017. That's when the idea like even came up about. I actually had graduated fresh out of high school, went to college, and I actually dropped out of school. When I did, like in the midst of that, I went to school for 3D design and like fashion illustration. So it was like in the midst of something I always wanted to do. And I've always been like an artist, like in the field of like always drawing and shit. In high school, I used to like charge people for like, art homework and shit like that. So it's always been like something I wanted to do. But as far as like where I wanted to take it, never really like knew until like that time where I actually started like brainstorming ideas.
Got you. So dang, so about the same time that we started our whole thing. So it's kind of dope. Yeah. So you went to school. Where were you? You were doing school and everything in Philly, or you were?
Yeah, I went to high school, MBA. You guys probably heard of it.
Yeah.
Went to MBA for like 3-4 years, I think. 9th grade to 12. From American college. I used to play volleyball, so I went like to school for that, and I kind of just picked up a major, kind of something like I wanted to do because I went to school for like volleyball. So when I went to pick up my major, it was kind of like I wasn't sure what I like wanted to do. I kind of wanted to go to law school, and then I also wanted to be an athlete, and I'm kind of like I also want to do art. So it's kind of like in the midst of all of that, and then that's kind of like the major came about, and then like the interest of like me wanting to like get more into like my creative side.
That's what's up. And you said you came to Philly in 2012. So what was the story behind that? I came to
Philly in 2012 from the DR.
Okay.
DR. I lived in PR for a little bit. Then went back to DR, came to PA, and I've been in Philly since. So yeah, I didn't know no English, none of that. Yeah.
Wow. So that was like towards the end of like middle school, right? You came over here.
Yeah, I think it was in 7th, 8th grade. I did like 8th grade at like some elementary school was like near Longcrest, yeah. And then from there I went to like MBA.
Gotcha. That's dope. See, that's why I always, even though it's like we're small, we used to just interviewing people from Philly.
Yeah,
it's always deeper to that. Like we've had people say, "Yeah, I'm like I just assume people from Philly, and that ends up not even be the case." So you've been all over the place, and it's just like,
yeah, thanks.
That's what's up.
And now you.
I mean, your English is like really good if you say
Yo, people be like, you just no funny shit though. Like sometimes you kind of hear it, like some words will slip up, or like certain people don't know how to say. It's like what's it called? Like I don't even know how to say it. It's like chimoli, something like that.
Wait, what were we talking about?
I don't know. It's like chimoli. I don't know. It's chimoli. I'm gonna type it out.
All right. Let's gotta get to the bottom of this.
Yeah, like it's like chimoli.
I don't even know how to say that. What the hell is that?
Yo, I don't know. People was clowning me for it. I'm like, yo, I'm fresh out. Chill.
I don't know what they're talking about then. I'm about to go ask them.
All right.
Like shit, I'm from here. I don't know all that.
Yeah. Are we missing something?
Yeah, mine's pretty good, you know.
Yeah, I would have not have known that you came over here in 2012, 100%.
No, thank you.
Yeah. But enough about the background. So I'm not trying to put your whole business out there. We're here for Aminykal. So you started that in 2017. When did you first? I would say what kind of. I know you were always into art, but what made you want to start, and what's kind of like what was your goal with it? I know you said you never really knew where you wanted to go with it, but what was your idea once you finally started to like push it even further?
Yeah, so Aminykal, so I kind of, like I said, I always kind of knew how to draw. I guess like since I actually started taking drawing seriously in 2017. So was fresh out, I went into school, started like brainstorming ideas and stuff. And it was kind of like I was trying to figure out as an artist like where I wanted to take it, because I always had interest in math stuff. So I wanted to draw, I wanted to do murals, sneakers, like everything. So I was kind of like, I didn't know what direction as far as like, what do I want to do? So when I came up with Aminykal, fun fact that you asked, the whole idea of the brand, was for it to be a clothing line because that was my interest. So 2017, I came up with the idea. I didn't have a name yet. Came up with the name in 2018. I kind of like on some high shit, chilling. Like it was some music.
Like, yo, what sound like, dope?
Yeah, I was kind of like chilling. So the name, I kind of always had that idea. Like some people refer to me, they be joking around like jack of all trades because I be doing like a little bit of everything. So it kind of was the idea of like being gifted. So I wanted to kind of represent like gifted, because at the end of the day, like we all gifted, like we all have like our own talent, our own way in which we gifted. So I kind of wanted to find a way to like incorporate that. So I looked up on Google like the word gifted, and I started like looking around. I'm like, no, it was as things that I did like other people had. And then I somehow started reading something and I came about the word a miracle. And I'm like, yo, that type sounds like a miracle type shit. I don't know. So I looked it up, and fun fact, the name was God's gift. So I'm like, yo,
that's hot.
That's it. So looked up, name, no brand had it, it was free to use. I'm like, that's it. That's the name. It's trendy. I'm like, it's what I wanted. Got the name 2019. It was kind of like, I was still in between like making it, just I came up with the name. I didn't really know what I wanted it to be, but I kind of kept it low key. So 2019, I started like finally coming out with templates. So I started like making like art and stuff like that, drawing. And so when I started like looking up little things, and then I came up with a couple of templates that I like, but I never really like dropped the brand. When I did 2019, that was like, I had dropped out of school like at that time. So a lot happened. I also ended up moving to it's like 2019. I also moved up to New York. So I left my job. It was kind of like a lot went on at the same time. So I was kind of like trying to save up for the brand, but then also like little things happen. So you kind of like get carried away trying to handle like important shit, and then you kind of put that aside. So Aminykal never happened. People was kind of like, yo, you was hyping it up. Because I was kind of like, oh, I'm thinking about this brand, People was like, oh, it's dope, but never happened. And then finally, I came to New York. COVID was actually like, I would say like the making of the whole thing. So fun fact, so I worked for Nordstrom back in NY. COVID happened, job was out the window.
Right.
It was kind of like in between, I was trying to figure out like ways to come up with like a side hustle and stuff, to like take care of shit. Cause shit gotta get paid, you feel me?
Of course, especially in New York.
Yo, facts. So I was trying to figure out things to do, and I came up with like the drop shipping. I came up with this drop shipping company. I did like a handbag, sold them for a little bit. It went good, but it has like it's flaws, like the shipping, getting on time, and stuff like that. So that's when I was like, I need money. I'm trying to find a way to do something. I'm like, yo, I started this brand not long ago, and I was like, fuck it, why not do it and see where it goes? So. No, fun fact, I decided to go to Philly so I could have the funds. I was like in the midst, my lease was coming up. So I was kind of like, if I get another apartment, I wasn't going to be able to do all that. So I went back to PA, saved up, got it done in DR. So the clothing brand, I have a vendor that makes everything there.
Gotcha.
Designs over. And then they ship the brand to me. And then from there, like I package orders and things like that. So, I got them, I sent over my designs, they made it happen, and then I had the shirts, and that was the start of everything. And fun fact, like it's so crazy. So like I bought 30 shirts at first, they sold out, ended up buying another 20, they sold out, and I'm like, oh, like
like people responding to it, like you get that.
People like really liking this. So that was like really dope. So kind of like right now, like come. I know you guys probably have all these questions. So I'm kind of just like
No, you.
Oh,
It's
no,
about
you're
you.
good.
Alright.
It's about this
You're
guitar.
good.
So-
Keep going.
right now, like I'm kind of like in the midst of like coming up with the brand. I kind of was like, yo, I've always as an artist like wanted to do like a lot of things at once, and I've always I always struggle, like I said, like trying to figure out like where I wanted to take it. So I thought like Aminykal just dropped, and it's kind of like I wanted to introduce the brand as a clothing brand, but at this point I'm working on it. I kind of want to take it to another direction in which like I want to sell merch, but I also want to like sell other things as far as like paintings. I want to make like figures. I want to drop sneakers. So it's kind of like, I don't want people to think of the brand as a clothing brand. I want it to be more so like a movement, you know, it's kind of like, you know, everything that I make is kind of like, how you say, like, I try to use objects. So I think like interesting shit, because y'all want to think about this afterwards. Like a lot of things that we use on like a daily basis, like objects and stuff, it kind of like impacts us in a way. So kind of like when you got your phone, it's just an object, but somebody texts you, they get you mad. Now you mad all day, like this shit, you know? So it's kind of like, I try to use objects, I guess, to like incorporate my art. That's what's always like abstracty, because I use like little objects and I try to like switch it around to like give it, I guess, like some emotion. So the whole brand overall, like all the art that I use, I grab like little objects and I convert it, and this is what I drop like for designs, like even my art and stuff. So it's kind of like the idea of like things that we use on a daily basis that we don't think like that really affect us. So I'm working right now on this project, which is the next drop, which is like hoodies. So we're in one right now.
Yeah.
So we're making this hoodie as well, and I want to use a lot of like recycle and like plastic materials to make it. Mm-hmm. So I'm using like these objects, filming the whole thing so you guys can see like how I like made everything put together with like all these recycled stuff. But it's kind of the idea of like us trashing shit that we think that we don't need, and it's kind of like reusing it to make something creative. So it's kind of like I feel like everything like ties everything together. So I want to tie that project to kind of like give out that perspective, but also like, you know, it's trash, but we made some wavy shit out of it, you know?
Yeah,
like,
of course.
Yeah, something dope. So I don't know.
And I already
want to take it.
Yeah, and I already had, when I hit you up to like even record this, I was like, yo, like I seen the hoodies you posted today, like that's crazy. Like I like I'm a big, like I like them, but I mean that just perfect. Like even like I had these questions, but you kind of just answered them without me asking them, which is perfect. But what you were saying earlier is like, it's funny hearing it from somebody else is literally what me and Mark kind of go through when we made ETC. Like that's what you just stated is literally what ETC is, of just like, we don't want to be stuck in just one thing. Like we didn't, like we like a lot of things, we do a lot of things, and we didn't want to just be like, even though this is what we mainly do, we don't want it to be like, oh, ETC just makes podcasts. Because that's not our intention. And you saying the same thing where you want to sell art and sneakers and make clothing, like it's more than just the one thing.
Yeah, I feel so too, because I think like as creative people, everybody, I think like you always taught as like, you always known as being really good at one thing, you know, like you're an artist because you do this, you're an artist because you rap, you sing something. And it's kind of the aspect of like, you think that you got to stick to, I feel like, you know, we thought like, to be like patient. So it's kind of like you have to do something consistent in order to be like successful at it. But it's a matter of like, I feel like in life there's cheat codes, you feel me? So it's a matter of like, you don't just have to stick to one thing to get somewhere. I'm like, you could try like different things. And I'm like, at the end of the day, like you might not get like the overall reward of like doing something great, but I'm like, just little rewards from like little things, I'm like, could lead to something bigger than what you thought. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like, and it's an aspect because I'm like, yo, me doing what? Just art, the brand and stuff like that. I'm like, it's leading me to like opportunities and things that if me just sticking to just doing the brand, I probably would have never seen like, so like 3-4 years from now, you know? So stuff like that. So yeah, like you got more stuff you're interested in, definitely like just do it, you know?
Yeah, I feel that way just because in general, like you said, like I feel like if you stick to just something that you do all the time, I feel like you get stuck in that spot where you don't know what could be. And on top of that, it's like once you find out and do that thing, if it's not like, if it doesn't come out to something like you thought of, I mean, at least you tried it, and now it's just opening up more doors and you're just finding out more about yourself and what you actually like.
Yes, fact. And like, yo, no funny, so fun fact, I'm gonna tell you this because this happened. So when I came to NY, like I came here to this crib, I have a roommate and stuff, and like I said, I came here with the opportunity, just like y'all came here back, whatever. My roommate is actually a director for like he films and stuff like that. So I actually ended up doing like a favor, to be honest, that led to like a bigger opportunity, and now I'm getting booked and shit like that to be in shoots and stuff. And it's kind of like little things like that. Like you do things in a matter of just thinking like, or just regular, or just going to like with the intention of like something that you're doing, but you never know like the greater purpose of like what could come out of that. And it's just like, shit, like you look back
Sure.
like, oh.
Yeah, like that really happened to me.
The connections that come from something that you don't even think. Like
Yeah, and it's really dope, like how things just happen. You just gotta just do it, you know?
Yeah. We've learned that even from the past couple months we were doing guests. It was just like, all right, we know that our one homie that does this, let me interview him. And then their homie sees it's like, oh, what's that we was just on? Oh, they want to be on it. And then we just keep meeting more and more people, more and more connections. And it's just like people that I consider I'm cool with now. I wasn't cool with in August, and now it's just like I talk to them regularly, or like I just bounce ideas off of, and it's kind of just off of doing this. So imagine you just being like, oh, let me just go do this favor. Now you have somebody who's like, oh, who's that? Oh, what can you do this for me? And then you have a bigger opportunity in your hands, and then from that, something even bigger.
Yeah. That's right. It's true too. And like I feel like us as people too, like we a lot of times too, like we think, because it came to my mind too when this happened, like we like when an opportunity comes, we always try to think like what we can get out of this, you know? And it kind of like you try not to, but that thought always comes through, like how is this gonna benefit me, or yo, is they paying me, or like what is, you know? So it's kind of like I feel like it's hard to not have that, but it's also important to step out of that mindset, because a lot of times like just thinking that could stop you from like doing something that could have done something greater than that. Because at the end of the day, like I feel like an act of kindness gets you further than like, you know, anything else. And you just, that's why I don't know.
I thought you were about to say something, Mark, but
No, I was just saying, yeah.
I didn't want to step over anybody's words,
no,
but
good.
Like, oh yeah.
So anyway, so no. But yeah, I 100% agree. And I like, again, the reason I even found you was I was on the ECC's Instagram, and I was just like, you know, I would recommend like, oh, this person follows this person, you should follow them. So I'm like, all right, cool, let me open this up. And I'm like, what is this brand? I'm like, these designs look so like, it's more than just saying like, you didn't just put like Aminykal across your chest and called it a day. And it was just like, there's so much more to the design. I'm like, yo, this is dope. And I'm like, yo, this page, I was like, this page doesn't have enough followers. I was like, time out, like, like this needs more recognition. And then I'm just like, all right, so who runs this thing? And I'm like trying to figure everything. I'm like, all right, cool. I'm gonna just DM, see what happens. But the designs are there's so much detail to it, or so much going on in them. And I was just like,
Thank you. Yeah, I try to, so everything I do, I draw myself from scratch. I draw it, sometimes scratch it out, you know. I draw and I take pictures. I convert it on Photoshop. So like I put it on Photoshop, and then I color, mess with like the designs and stuff like that. And then like transfer over to like a shirt. Right now I want to step out of that. Like I said, I want to do like more handwork, because I do like sew. I used to make dresses back then and stuff like that. So I wanted to introduce the brand as, you know, I thought t-shirts would be a dope way. It's you know, dope, a good way to introduce it out. And then from there, I want to, you know, do more like hands-on things, because like I said, the overall goal of the whole thing, I want to do like multiple things at once, because I want people to see it as a movement. But I do want to host like a lot of events, and maybe like mostly art shows. And I want people to have the ability of not just go to like, you know, a brand event, like an art show, and you're just sitting there looking at like stuff. I want people to like have the ability to go there and actually create, you know, like see,
to interact with what's going on.
Yeah, like put hands on things. I want people to be able to like learn things as well. So you're not just going there to just like see something. You're there, you know, to like experience something different, and like I guess help people like jump to their creative side, because like I said, we're all creative in our own way. Sometimes like your environment don't let you see that. Like I didn't draw for a lot of years. I knew how to draw, but I never really took it as something serious, you know. I can now say like something like that was my environment. So I'm like, if I would have had, you know, like something that it was inspired, like an art show or people that was more like creative around me, I'm like, I probably would have done it earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like, I want to give people that opportunity of like seeing something and like being encouraged by it and like taking that to do something great for themselves, you know? So
Just kind of, I guess, do what happened for you. Like, of just seeing the people you were around, like, oh, these people are doing this stuff. I should do what I want to do. Like,
yeah, because it influence you. Like people, like it's true. Like your friends and people you have around you, like it do have an impact. Like as much as you don't want to tell yourself that, like it does after a while. So it's kind of like you do want to eventually surround yourself around people that have the same interests, because it's kind of like it pushes you to do better. And I'm like, and when I see other friends that I have that are in the industry that are actually like making big moves, I'm kind of like, yo, I'm trying to do that.
Trying to match that. You're trying to match
like,
that.
Yo,
energy.
I want to be like you. You feel me? Like I'm trying to, you know. So it's kind of like it influences you to want to get to that point, and it's just kind of like, you know, you just want to get better, and then they push you to do better too. So it's kind of like it's just good vibes all around. So that's dope.
It's not even like say like competition, but it just pushes like, oh, this person do this. Like, what am I doing? Like, I gotta I gotta have my thing too.
Mm-hmm. No, for sure. And that's not, like I said, New York, yo, it does that to you, you know, being surrounded by like just different stuff, different creatives, and like you just want to do many things. Like you want to do a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
As it should be, you know?
Yeah.
You gotta know what you want.
Of course. And then also how do you feel about like with what's been going on like with COVID and all, you feel like it's helped with Aminykal a lot, or you feel like you put a lot of time into it because of that, or do you feel like it would have happened regardless?
Like, when COVID happened, I was so mad. I hated it. I was like, yo, fuck this. But I will say I'm thankful for it. I think COVID, as bad as it was, unfortunately, because it's definitely not something great, but it has helped me like grow as a person. And I'll say like really figure shit out, because I'm like, COVID happened and it opened my eyes to like many things that I didn't think of before. Like at the end of the day, you know, you think like you got many problems and you got your shit figured out. And I'm like, the whole world shut down and it's like, shit, now what? You know? Yeah. So it's like, I have to, you know, figure out ways to like secure myself. It gave me like I figured out, you know, I've always worked a 9 to 5. I always had people, you know, so it's kind of like, I jumped in the aspect like, yo, like if this was my only income, that would have been it.
Yeah.
You know, so it's kind of like, it opened my eyes to so many things, and it also made me realize, like, at that time, just because I had to hustle, like, I didn't have a job for a little bit, so I had to run to graphics. Like, that's really, like, I was hustling so hard for graphics and, like, that e-commerce thing I did, because it was kind of like I was trying to put money in. So I'm like, when I started doing the graphics, and, you know, as little as, like, $35 it adds up, you know? And I started, I'm like, yo, like, hold up. I'm spending a couple hours doing something I like, and I'm actually making money. And I'm like, this is something I could then do for myself. And I'm like, and I don't have to work for other people. And it's kind of like, you're also enjoying what you're doing, and you're bringing money without even realizing. Because I'm like, I was just doing covers, and I'm looking at my bank like, oh, wait. So like, you know.
So there's really doing something.
It's doing something. So it encouraged you to do that. And I'll say, yeah, Aminykal, honestly, like it's something I would have done eventually, but I would have never done it as fast as I did if it wouldn't have been for COVID. And COVID gave me like an awakening, because it's not something that I'm doing just because. It's kind of like, this is really something I always wanted to do. And I didn't realize how bad I wanted to do it till I started doing it. And I'm like, yo, I really love this. Like, this is something I want to stick to. And I'm like, take that away from me. Like my creativity, I'm like, yo, like once I found myself, like, I guess like in my zone, and like, that's like my comfort zone. I'm like, nobody can take that away from me, because I'm like, that's like my reliable source, like always, you know? So I'm like, I love that all that has happened, I guess, like open my eyes to like all this, you know, it's like, I like where it's going, you could say.
Yeah, and I mean, if you thriving now with all this going on, imagine when things go back to normal. It's like,
yeah, I hope so.
More, yeah,
I hope so. But this definitely been, it's been like a roller coaster. Like a lot has been happening, but I'm so glad. Like, you know, at the end of the day, like as far as like taking the whole thing, I'm like happy. I guess like the consistency, you know, of like everything. Because at the end of the day, like things got done. You know, like you guys started like too slow. 17, because you think like, I'll say, my bad, I'm going off script.
No, you're good.
Yeah. I'm so bad, yo. I talk so much. Like, so I feel like, you know, like I was thinking about this earlier. My friend downstairs was talking about this, and it's kind of like you start, you know, shit happens in your life, and you're like, yo, you know, my life is over. And then you look back at stuff, and you're like, yo, besides everything bad that has happened, progress has been made. So like, you look at it, you start in 2017, and then you look at it now, and you're like, wait, I started this time, and then I did something this year, and then I did something this year, and then I did this. Kind of like, besides everything bad, you still kind of did something good. So it's kind of a matter of like, at the end of the day, it's kind of like, damn, I'm still consistent. And I'll say this like something I'm like proud about. Like, regardless, everything is kind of like, it still got done. You know, something started like mad long ago, but it's kind of like it's starting and it's like getting better over time.
Yeah. He said, I'm getting all script. I'm like, that's cool. Like, they came to hear you talk. It's not a big deal.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what they're here for.
Oh, I think like what I find really crazy though is that like you're not the only person that said this whole thing about like COVID being something where it's actually like it's something that's bad, but it also like helped them just to see like, you know, oh, like this is a lot of time we have. Let's see what we can do with it, and let's see like, you know, what we can push out. And a lot of people just like found out like their like creative side, and just, you know, everything they wanted to do is like now happening. So it's like just what you said, Victor. Like imagine like when this is over, like how much like further things just kind of honestly go.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I feel like, yeah, and definitely like people, and yeah, like I said, it's a matter of that. Like, we were on lockdown, so we're all home, you know, we can't go nowhere. So you kind of have you have no choice but to do something.
Yeah.
Like, it's good because, like I said, like a lot of times your environment is like your worst enemy, you could say. And you be outside, you be doing things, you don't realize how work, friends, and all of that like come in between everything. So you being home alone in COVID, like separated from people, where it's just you basically in your mind and you're focused. It kind of gives you like, you have to start doing something. And it's kind of like, I feel like a lot of people found their high, because you know how people always say like you have your high, and it's kind of like you're doing something that you enjoy and you get carried in it without noticing that you're doing it. So it's kind of like, I feel like we all have our natural high. It's just kind of like you have to find it, or like find what it is that keep you kind of like zoned out. Not zoned out, but like in your zone, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Okay.
Find your peace, the thing that keeps you
yeah, and I think, yeah, COVID, I have a lot of friends, like it definitely like opened up a lot of opportunities for them. So I'm like, it was definitely like self-reflection, I feel like, for everybody to just like sit back and be like, the way you've been living your life, or like the shit that you thought was actually important and all of that. So it's kind of like everything shifted to like realizing like, yo, shit is really real out here. You gotta like.
Yeah.
But yeah, so.
I also want to ask, because you said you do a lot of like the manufacturing is in DR. So how's that been? And like, I just personally have questions about that in general, just because Mark and I try to do like our merch thing, and our manufacturers I was not a fan of, so it was stressful that whole time. But how's that been for you with working with someone in DR?
I first started e-commerce. I did drop shipping for a little bit. That was a nightmare, I'm telling you. Like, I had drop shippers that shipped it to other people, and the items were from foreign countries. So you would pay for like expedited shipping, but it would still not get shipped or arrive on time, because, you know, COVID, sanitation procedures and stuff like that they had to do. So it was stressful. So these people I found in DR, I looked up on Google. The reason why I use DR is because money value is different in the DR. So if you're converting US dollars to DR money, it has less value. So you're basically spending less money. So, you know, anywhere else, getting it something shipped, you know, if you want good, at the end of the day, you want good product, you don't have to pay money. But it's just a matter, like I said, cheat code. So I was trying to go around it. So, you know, due to that, I ended up getting like the merch at a good price. Any drop shipper you can find could do that for you. Like I said, people try to finesse, so just make sure that you know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Like I did, I had them, I sent them my designs over. I had picked out the fabric already. So I went out to a store and I like tried, like I felt certain fabrics. So anything that I did like, I took a picture to research the type of fabric. And then once I found something I really liked, I sent them over the name. They bought the shirts for me. They printed everything. I didn't want to do vinyl. Like there's certain prints that you do because I didn't like the way it looked on like shirts. So what we did, we laser printed the shirts. So it's laser printed. So it's cool because when you stretch it, the shirts are like they don't come off. You can rewatch it as many times, stay dope. So that was cool. Yeah, that drop shipping company I did, like they did everything. So they print everything. So they did my bags, they did my tags, pretty much everything for me. They shipped it over to my home, and then from there I bought like the bags and stuff to like ship it over to
package it. Yeah.
Yeah, and then I just like packaged, shipped labels, and then took it to UPS. Yeah, that's how like orders got done. But yeah, it was an easy process, honestly. Shipping wasn't that bad. It took only a couple days for everything to arrive. The quality was pretty good. For the samples, I have family in VR, so I had them go and try them on and then send me pictures of like how it fitted so I could have an idea of how everything was gonna look. But it was dope. I really liked them. Like I said, the hoodies that I posted recently, that's the third drop. This second drop, I'm working on the project with the hoodies, so that will be next week. And then 2 weeks following that will be the third one. And then from there, hands on.
Got you. See, I'm glad to see here you had a good experience because I was,
I'm not gonna lie. I know a lot of people have done it. And they like, yo, you got lucky because I know a lot of people have spent money like trying different places and stuff like that. But like I said, it's a matter of research. Because honestly, like me hearing other people's mistakes, I tell them like, bro, you just have to be a little bit smarter. Like, because it's a matter of like, you gotta understand like when you put in your money out, you know, you work for your money. So it's kind of like, I don't want to just put my money out somewhere if I'm not sure. Like I made sure that I asked the right questions. I did not put no money out till they gave me a sample. Like if you giving big talk, like you run shit, I made it seem like I'm corporate, I got money. Like I'm telling them like I'm putting in a big order. Y'all better like show me. So they showed me the samples. Like I said, it's all about how you talk to people at the end of the day. So they showed me the samples. I was like, I fuck with it. So I'm like, I'm putting my money in there. It's cool. And then from there was good. So I would say it's just communication. And like I said, like if you got to go out your way to like make them send you videos like that,
yes.
Do that because it's definitely people get you for your money. And I'm like, and you can't get back. It's like, don't take the risk.
Yeah, our issue was like I like hit up 10 different people. The one that I went with, they were really good with like communicating. So I'm like, all right, I like this. I'm gonna go with them. We put the money in, we looked at everything, and then towards the end, when it came to like getting it in hand, it was such a headache. And I went like, you can ask Mark. Like I was just like, yo, like I'm going crazy. Like
it was just crazy.
It's an hour away from Philly where I had to go to. It was like it's right there. And
it was just crazy how fast we were saying they were responding in the beginning. Then towards the end, it was almost as if like they didn't want to hit us up, and it was just bad.
I was just I'm like, yo, do you have an update on this and that? Like I was just like every other day just emailing, like trying to be on top of it.
It was like double texting them, and it was like
we did it off a pre-order. So I was like, if we do pre-order, like we can just do it that way, and that way we don't really have to put as much money out. Like to have people pay for it up front, we get it to them as soon as possible. And then it was just 2 weeks late. I was just going crazy. I was like, I'm not again. I'm cool. But next time we're trying to do this for our next drop, like for the spring, and we're trying to do it like way bigger. But right now I'm spending this time looking at who I want to have make our stuff.
I would say do definitely like look for outside, maybe PR, DR. It's because money value is like a little lower. You get better prices. I'll say if people be thinking about foreign countries, it'd be like China, India, but I'm like, yo, shipping out there, that's different. So I'm like, if you want to risk it, go ahead. But you definitely should. I mean, I'll get in contact with you guys. I'll put you on.
Yeah, I was going to say, bounce a couple ideas off with you.
Yeah, but definitely like they'll get it done at a good price. As far as like website stuff, I did my brand through Shopify. Mm-hmm. I think Shopify is like a really easy web access. You don't really pay a lot either. Only little things I don't like about Shopify, but they make everything easy for me. And I like to package my own orders. Like I said, I did drop shipping before, and I didn't want to start a business and like have people have issues with like shipping and things like that.
Yeah.
So that's one big thing, because at the end of the day, it's people, money, and the line. And when you're starting as a new brand, it's hard too, because it's a lot of like, I will say, like, if you're starting as a new brand, if something go wrong, it could really go wrong, and then it could really impact you. So it's kind of like wanting to take precautions. So I try to, like, try to ship everything ASAP, make sure that everybody gets their orders on time. And so far, like, no issues. So it's been good. Yeah, so it's dope.
So for sure, be asking some questions and figuring out what we're going to do, because what we got planned is a lot better, and I want to make sure we do it right this time around.
No, and that's what I said. It's all the learning. Like, you do something, it flop, whatever, do it again, and you learn something from every time. Like I said, like, I did so many things before I even like thought about like the brand and stuff like that, and it all flopped, and then it came an overall picture that now it's like I like where it's going.
What else I was going to mention? Yeah. Oh, and then I was just kind of like, even though I think about it now, because now it's been delivered, it's been in the past, but to think about how stressed I was like during that time of like for everything, and then to like when I got to like, we decided to like hand deliver it to people for the most part, and to see like their reactions, I was like, it's worth it, it's cool, I'm happy. Like seeing people post with our stuff on, I was like, it don't even matter, don't even worry about it. I'm happy that how it turned out.
It makes you feel good. It definitely does. Like, it definitely does. Yeah, like the whole thing. I did, like, when I did mine, I didn't think, like, honestly, I thought like 6 people was gonna buy it.
Yeah, like you didn't really think it was gonna.
Because when you start your first brand, I was like, yo, I'll probably sell these in like a month, the first 30, and it sold pretty quickly. Like, I mean, the brand drop last month was at the end of, no, I didn't drop it till the end of October, the 28th. So today's the 12th. So it's been like a month and a couple weeks or so. But yeah, everything's sold. Like, the website is down. So it's kind of like, yeah, it's dope because you encouraged you. I mean, I didn't think people was going to really like that. And I'm like, it encouraged me to be like, yo, this is something. Like, as a creative, you struggle, I say, because you think like, you struggle between what you want to do and what you think people like. Times it's like, you want to you want, but then you also like, you don't know if people are gonna like it. So it was a struggle of like, this design was different. If I don't know if you guys follow me before that, probably not, but I had completely posted something completely different than what I actually dropped. I was ready for that. I put it in with the guy, and last night I was at night. I came up with 3 complete different designs, like out of nowhere, and I was like, nah. Because I was going off based like things that people were telling me, or like, you have to do this, people are gonna like this. And I didn't feel comfortable because kind of like, the overall process of like how everything came about. I'm like, I don't want to drop something just because people like it. Now it's not making me feel good. And then I started messing around, making something good. And I'm like, I was happy with it, but then I didn't know people was gonna like it. And I was just like, whatever, I'm just gonna do it. I like it. It's really what I like, whatever. I do it out. And then people really liked it, and then it's kind of like you'll be surprised that sometimes you just doing what you like without just caring about what other people think, it will probably take you further than you actually trying to make people like it.
Yeah.
Be like, yo.
For sure. At the end of the day, a lot of times the customer or like that person don't really know what they want, and they trying to just like you. They like you, they like your idea. So for them to put your ideas into, like, it's not gonna mesh. They want what you put out.
Yeah,
so, like,
and it's too like, sorry to cut you off.
No, you're good.
Doing graphics is like that too. Like, I'll get people hit me up and they'll be like, I want this, then but they'll be like, but I want this and that. And then you show them literally what they explain to you. And then they're like, nah. And bro, and then I'm like, all right, I'm gonna forget what they said. I'm just gonna freestyle because they don't even know what they want. So then I go ahead and make something different. I'll be like, here, and they'll be like, oh, that's what I wanted. So
yeah, like
sometimes people, yeah, you're right. Like, they don't really know what they want. So it's kind of like, a friend ran this by me one time where I was kind of like frustrated because I'm like, yo, a lot of times like people ask for certain things and you try to give them that, but it's not that. My friend kind of came about kind of like, if they're coming to you because they like what you do, So they're not coming to you because they would have came to somebody else if it was off their idea. So it's kind of like they coming to you, they like what you do, they like your style. So they're looking to get what they want, but they also want to see you in it, So it's kind of like a mixture. So it came about that, and it kind of changed like the perspective on like doing certain stuff. So I'm like, all right.
Exactly. So it's I mean, and that's also it's stressful too, like you were saying, of just like you don't know how it's gonna react. But again, you doing what you want sometimes, or even with what we do, we'll be like, all right, like this video probably not going to do, this podcast not going to do well, and that's the one that does really well. We're just like we didn't expect that, but I'm not going to complain, like whatever. Like we appreciate that you like it.
No, that's really dope. Yeah, because it's like that too, and that's how you guys start. But I really like what you guys are doing. I mostly love like how you guys are keeping it like ground based, especially like the attention of Philly, because I think Philly has a lot of dope slept on talent for sure. And I think a lot of people like they don't give Philly the recognition it deserves, because it's definitely like very influential to a lot of people. And me being in New York, like I ran by this with my friend. Like you think of New York as like a certain place, but you'd be surprised the influences that New York gets from other cities. And I'm like, I think Philly is like really influential, and it has a lot of slept on talent. And I think if people like were to like really come together as creatives, they'll get somewhere. Yeah. And it's not a matter of like, you know, not even like people being like beef or none of that shit. Honestly, it's a matter of like people being like jealousy and people wanting to like be always on top. So I'm like, if people were to take away the mentality of like, I want to be the best of my city and just like, I want to be just dope. Yeah. I'd be surprised at like connections that you make and how further much that will get you as a creative. So I think if people were to do more things, like the city could definitely proceed, because there's not talent out there. And it's you gotta leave. Like I feel like it says that for Philly, like every creative person I know is like you have to leave to go somewhere. Like every person I know, they leave and then they start doing shit. And it sucks that you have to leave to go somewhere. It's kind of like it's too much talent out there. Like why can't I succeed in my city just doing what I'm good at, you know? So it's just that, but it's dope.
We appreciate it either way. And then of course we're a fan of yours. I was kind of upset when I found out like about your brand. I looked in the website, it says sold out. I'm like, damn, I need it. I'm definitely whatever you got coming out, I'm gonna have to grab the next drop.
I mean, I'll be nice. I got a couple shirts. I'll give you some.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I only got literally like less than 10. But I was on some I took, because when I sold everything, I took out 10 that I wanted to keep for myself. And then the other I sold out. So when everything sold out, I'm like, I'm not going to put these, because I'm like, I told the brand, I don't want to like drop anything. So I kind of want to keep everything one-on-one. Mm-hmm. So the whole idea of the shirts, like I'm dropping more, but it's not going to be the same design. So it's kind of like I wanted to keep that batch as exclusive, but I got y'all too. I'll show you my left. I can have a couple of cool.
Oh my God.
A medium, a large. I'm a medium or large, you know.
You get it early, because when it's popping, the price gonna go up or whatever.
Oh yeah.
Exactly, you know.
For sure.
No, it's cool, but no, it's dope. But honestly, like I'm glad you guys. This is like my first interview. Hopefully, first of many. But
of course, when we back in the studio and you in Philly. Definitely.
I'm down for sure. But yeah, I'm thankful that you guys like hit me up for this. It's really dope. I fuck with that energy. So facts. Blessings to y'all all day. So it's dope.
Appreciate that. It's always good to hear that. Let me see. So we're gonna start to close out, but I feel like we always kind of do this with every guest. We have a set of questions that we just shoot at you, rapid fire. And you gotta off top just answer back.
So I just gotta like say wait. You gotta prep me for this. Like,
so I'm gonna give you it's like A or B, and you just say A.
Yeah, just two options. Yeah.
Right, cool.
Or I made up a new one last night since I knew we was gonna have you on. We could pick that. I'll call it. You could have either this or that, or overrated or underrated. Which one you want to go with?
Damn.
Why'd you do
this? Underrated or overrated? Wait, are we the underrated or overrated what? Like anything?
I'm gonna tell you something. You gotta tell me if it's overrated or underrated.
All right, let's do this or that.
This or that? Okay.
He wanted me to take that.
No. We could do that.
He was ready for it.
He was like,
All right. Do it. Should we just go with the OG questions, Mark?
Yeah.
All right, cool. We'll just go with the OG questions because we got a whole bunch in here. But all right, boom. This or that. Drums or flats?
Drums or what?
Drums or
Drums,
flats?
drums.
Drums. Okay, yes.
He said,
That's it. That's it. Stop the question.
All right, that's it. All right, we'll see ya. Xbox, PlayStation, or Nintendo?
Ooh, PlayStation.
Okay. Coke or Pepsi?
Coke or Pepsi? Pepsi.
Okay. FaceTime or text?
Ooh, FaceTime.
FaceTime. More money or more free time?
Free time.
Free time. Twitter or Instagram?
Twitter.
Vine or TikTok?
Neither.
Neither.
Like,
No, you good.
I guess TikTok is funnier.
Pac or Biggie?
Ooh, Pac. Love that.
Pac. Early bird or night owl?
Night out.
Concerts or movie theater?
Movie theater.
Movie theater. There you go. Boom. That's it.
That's it? Oh, there we go. No. That was
All right.
easy.
So we appreciate you for coming through with us. We had a good time. I feel like it went by really fast, but
Yeah.
it was a lot of fun. Before we get out of here, let them know when you're dropping, where can they find you? What do you got going on?
Yes, so website Aminykal, Instagram, Aminykal.com on the web. We'll be dropping next week, so I have a video put out to some hoodies that I'm working on. After that, the third drop will be in January. And yeah, that's all. Thank you guys. It was a pleasure. I'm really excited. Thank you so much for having me.
Of course. And then any socials, like any social media handles you want to
I have my social media, but it's LDALLLIIS, but I am planning on deleting my Instagram, but you guys can follow in the meantime. I want to just stick to the brand because, like I said, like I want it to be a whole movement. So I want to be the face of that. So I wanted to just stick to just managing my business, I'll say. Yeah.
And then everything will be linked in the description of the video, so you can find it there. But Mark, where can they find you?
Find me Instagram at ETCMarkyMark, Twitter at MarkyMark, also on Twitch at MCMarkyMark. Victor, where can they find you and ETC?
So you can find me on pretty much everything: Instagram, Twitter, Twitch, all that. ETC Victor, etc. Stuff, same thing. Real etc. on all the platforms: TikTok, Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, everywhere. Yeah, that's pretty much everything. Oh, the email.
Yeah,
I forgot the email, real.etc@gmail.com. What was you about to say, Mark?
I also wanted to say that I believe like you were actually like the first female guest.
Yep, you're our first woman guest on the show.
Yeah, like I realized, I'm like, wait, yeah, because I'm like, wow, I'm like realizing at the end, I'm like, wait, this is like the first female guest.
It finally happened. We've been trying for so long.
Yeah,
that's
and it's
dope.
crazy.
That's dope. I'm excited.
I'm glad we have this going on now, and hopefully.
Well, I'm glad to represent. You guys were great.
Thank you.
It was a pleasure. Like I said, more blessings. I'll see you again, hopefully in person.
Of course.
From there. So.
Yeah.
First woman in the studio. We gotta make it. We gotta get it now. We gotta get it
for sure. I got you guys with the merch, so hit me up afterwards.
Of course. Bet. Got you.
All right. Well, bye, guys. It was a pleasure.
See you. Have a good day.
All right. You too. Bye.
See you.